behind my face is a freaking 6-page story about the time I was in a MLM. I'm also going to show you the face of a clown, okay? That's how I'm going to define that, because let's be honest, when you are in these kind of things, you end up being pretty much a clown. You're playing a role that they are encouraging you to play because for them it makes sense. And basically, I decided to talk about the worst probably period of my life. And no, it was not when I was in elementary school. It was not when I was in high school. It was when I was in a cult / a pyramid scheme to some point that is not yet considered to be illegal. Like the moment I spent in that, where I basically probably scrapped a little part of my social life and I burned bridge with some very old friends. So to make it simple, at that time, I was that human. Let's put my face off. That human here, okay? You can see that I went there with my wife at the time, and we were doing in that place some cult-like activity. Basically, they were making team building experience so that we would trust one another more effectively. But to show you other part of the human I was when I was like 22, 23, I was in a good shape, okay? Like at that point, I was probably at the best shape I was in my life. So that human here was also the dumbass. That is shown here when I still had like short hair. Shown there. Oh, and that human clearly one of the most conspirationist human I've ever seen. This human here with my wife before we had our babies, and that human there. You can say I always had that little twinkle in the front of my hair. I had a hard time to deal with until my hair grew long, and even now, like you can see that this little part here is like, wait, no, I'm living my own life. That human made a very, very bad decision at some places in its life. To make it super simple, I'm gonna read you the stupid shit I did. But yeah, as you can see with all the talks and everything, these were basically what you were wearing most of the time. And I'll read you the story of the worst 2 years of my life. I will first start with a disclaimer because I'm pretty sure there's going to be people that are going to be crying over this. None of what I say here is made to be a nuisance to the people I've known, nor to make them any wrong. It is mostly to be more of a teacher, more of a, if someone offers you these kind of deal in your life, say no. For that reason, the name of all the person that took part in any part of this text will be avoided. I will not name anyone today. Nonetheless, you might recognize yourself in that story, and I will not hold any thoughts of what I went through. I will say what I think this system was. I will at some part in this story also share my state of mind on an understanding of a situation that made me the bad guy. I'm letting you know that ahead of time because this change you. This kind of business that like just abuse people does change you. I'm talking business like Avon, business like Tupperware, business like Monate, things like that. Primerica is the one we're going to talk about here. But it's the kind of business that perniciously make you as much a victim of a scam as it makes you a scam artist. We'll be talking about Primerica from the perspective of someone above the median of the level he reached. Okay, so basically I made good for the level I was in that business, but in comparison to like the big head of this thing that like stayed here for a long time, I was making like petty money. I was making good money for the lowest level. About 9 years ago, I was a student on my way to become a philosophy teacher in high school. I considered myself to be a go-getter. Yeah, when you're 22 or 23 or 24, you always consider yourself to be a go-getter to some point. Had good result in most classes without putting in much effort, and I was ambitious to become a principal as fast as possible, to become a principal of a school. I was already managing a small team as a security manager to pay off my university and working about 36 hours a week. Having a minor in religiology and a minor in philosophy, pretty much already done, I understood more than the basics of ethics and brainwashing. Yet, it didn't protect me from what I became. Being knowledgeable of these things in a young 20-something gotta had that it probably, some ways, had the opposite effect of making me believing I could be even greater at this. Like, because you think you know stuff about this, you think you are in a good place to hone that, you know? One day, I received a message from an old friend of mine just talking a little bit about nothing in a moment where I was reconsidering my career path. I went through a difficult internship and I didn't know if teaching was a passion enough to withstand that for another year. Basically, this is the kind of internship where I got asked if I really wanted to become a teacher so that I could be a principal later by a lady that really wanted to fail me. So I was not sure that I still wanted to go in education, you know? Teaching was still something that was calling me. In conversation, he eventually says that his wife started a business and would like to offer me an opportunity if it's something that may interest me. In my state of mind at the time, I said yes and went to a reunion. Note that they were willingly extremely reluctant to give me information about what was the name of the business that he was talking about, but I still went with it. He said I could get an interview later if I liked what it looked like. So this is, by the way, already pernicious. It's not an interview. When you are signing to becoming a independent contractor, they take anyone. They take anyone. If you got a heartbeat, they will take you. So I showed up to the meeting to be greeted by a room filled with about 50 people, of which I didn't know by then that 40 were already signed in with the company. Basically, there's an army of people there that are already signed in. They will be hyped about whatever you're saying, that they are saying in front of the place, because they got to. That's a way to ratio out the people that are reluctant, the people that are asking questions. It's not going to be an interview at first, but you guessed it, a sales pitch. Instead of directly speaking about what they sell, they start speaking about the financial situation of the average citizen of where I live. They are technically a financial advisor, like the worker there become financial advisor where I live. So they're trying to tell you what they're teaching to people. Then they show a lot of tips to make/save money that are, up until then, truly worth something for the average citizen. Basically, this is Finance 101 for those who didn't receive Finance 101 when they were in Sec 5. We were talking about getting the right kind of insurance, saving in a certain kind of account, consolidating debt, like financial advice. All things that mathematically makes perfect sense. They then talk about the opportunity of making a lot of money out of the work of a downline. Basically, you have to build up a team under you of people that will also try to make a team under them. They don't want to talk about the math part of the thing. If everybody recruits 5 people, like after 14 stage, you just have the whole population of the world. And this is if everyone wants to be a Primerica finance advisor, you know? This cannot go on forever. This basically cannot go for a long time at all. To be able to eventually live rich and free by using a lot of multiplication and making you believe it's going to be rather easy to earn a living, that would only be a dream for anyone that would come from an average household like mine. To make a long story short, big house, big car, travel, and little work, you know? All the dream, you know? But first, you got to work your life out reaching these heights. Having a very high self-esteem overall all the time, I believed I got what I needed to make it. And sadly, by the time, I truly believed it. I go then past the interview and get explained that all our wage is determined by your sales. Like, you're telling me that I'm going to work on commission. I think I'm good at that. Once again, having the self-esteem of a young 20-something, I believed I could make it work. My upline being very new in the company and not having her permit, because where I live, you need to have the permit to be able to be a financial advisor. If you're not, you will have to bring another person that is already in the company to make the money on your sales. And we're talking about the hotter market, the one that are very close to you. So I got paired with another guy that already got the training needed to legally sell the product, but he was not in my upline. So basically, his goal was not to recruit. His goal was to sell. So for the first month, all my sales bring me nothing. The teacher that comes with me to close them is the one getting all the money from my hottest market. We're talking like people that I'm close to and that will naturally be inclined to trust me, you know? This is a tactic that is very, very common in MLMs. They will go for your hottest market first because this is the place where you have the highest chance of convincing someone, you know? So he's not trying to recruit since it would bring him nothing. He just sell the product that do make him money. Consuming my other market as I follow the classes and succeed the AMF, this is the financial authority of my province, exam in about a month. This success, by the way, led me to be considered, with their point system, the third best in Canada. And what I got for this, because like we sold a lot on my case, but sadly I did not have the permit for it. What I got out of it was like a iPad, a 60 gig one that Kim still use, but like it's the cheapest version of the iPad they could send you. By the way, when you do get that success, they will take you in front of the group. They will shower you with love because you're so good in what you're doing. Already got like one downline, a second one coming, and your permit and everything. You are the third best in Canada. They are so proud of you because they want you to stay. If the things work, they want you to believe that this is good. I'm going to talk a little about the products here, the things we were selling. Here's basically what they teach you how to sell. They offer potential clients some free consultation. This is basically like financial advisor, but you're not going to pay me. I'm just going to come here and give you tips, help you plan better your finances. Those tips they showed at the aforementioned reunion. They basically at the reunion show you exactly what you have to say, and you'll just have to reteach that. Being a third year bachelor in teaching, I was in a good place in my life to be a decent teacher. Up to that part, by the way, everything is fine. Since the basics of a finance 101 class would be like the minimum you have to teach to anyone, that makes a lot of sense to teach that to people. Then they leverage, and the problem where it goes wrong, because like the teaching resonated well with my passion of being a teacher or becoming a teacher. And then they leverage your relationship with the status your relationship status with the person to offer mainly 3 products. Here are the products. Insurance, which they only have the temporary kind, because in most cases, for like, I'd say easily 80% of the human being, the best option would be to go for a temporary kind of insurance and then like place the extra on the side. So it's the cheapest one. The economy should be put towards some retirement fund, which you guess won't go there for long because people, when they save money, they want to spend more. It's a good, like, it's wishful thinking to think that when people got money on the side, they will all place it on the side, you know? Yes, if you compare their price with other companies' temporary insurances, you understand that it is the most costly most of the time. I personally went to 5 different companies when I had to like go and get my own insurance. And even in temporary, Primerica's one was the one that cost the most because they have to pay the whole hotline with what they make on you, you know? But we are taught not to mention that. Like, I made my research and I was like, yeah, you don't talk about the fact that you are a little bit pricier because you come with also some support financially and you bring them some teachings for free, and like that's how they pay you this. So you clearly understand there that there is a manipulation part here. You hide some part of the truth if people do not ask for it. I did it with some of my friends and family because I wanted my claim to be truthful. Okay, they also want you to even say that it's the cheapest and best on the market, which is wrong. Personally, when I made those tests, I noticed that it was not right, and I didn't lie to my people. Was like, yeah, I'm not the cheapest, but you can always call me to be able to be a support when you have to have a financial advice or anything. I'm going to be there for that. I'm a financial advisor at that point. I passed the test of the AMF, you know? So I'm someone that loves number. That was an advantage for me on the side of a lot of my, let's say, colleague at the time. I'll say competition. So yeah, that part, I was not okay with lying. I was okay with being like, I'm going to say the truth. Thing is, even if it's the case, a lot of your family member will still take it with you because they trust you. So even if you tell the truth, or at least avoid saying it and tell yourself you are not technically lying because you are not like saying the whole truth, you are lying by omission, you know, you are still freaking dishonest. I don't care what they're going to tell you in your meeting when they are trying to brainwash you. They offer some investment product with at least 2% cut taken every year to pay for the different level of the pyramid, but will say it's a normal cut in all finance institutions. If you are not taking care of your own money, this is kind of a normal cut. Like the banks around me, if I'm going to try to place money, this is true. They take about 2% every year, no matter what. If you are good to manage your own fund, you can go low as 0.2% per year. And this 1.8 makes a huge huge difference when you're talking about a retirement account. So yeah, welcome. Now you know that the banks are trying to scam you, and you also know that a Primerica seller is also trying to scam you. So again, that's what you learn when you do research, to make sure you stay truthful. That 1.8 difference might look insignificant, but when you are talking about retirement fund, they multiply quickly, but you know, gotta feed the upline. So 2% is just there so that you're able to feed the upline with that money and yourself a bit. That's probably the product that is the most fair of theirs, pretty equivalent to other banks, but also the one that pays the least. So you're not going to make a lot of money on this one. Basically, it's your attempt to help someone to get out of debts so that you start offering, you can start offering money-making product I just mentioned. The last one, sorry, this one, I did not mention it well. It's basically we try to help people consolidating their debts. So they will be able to pay only one bill at the end of the month instead of like 6 bills on different Visa card, and they are not able to follow them all. You are then offering the opportunity, and I will put that into quote, opportunity of the company during that meeting, which is often the coldest shower you can give to your friends and family. If they known in their life one single MLM, they will run away from you for this. To understand how efficient I was, in my early month, I classed third best new recruit Canada-wide, and I flawlessly made it to get my permit in the quickest time possible so I could start earning some money for myself. My aforementioned teacher stopped supporting me because I'm not making him money anymore. I didn't bring him any money for the moment. I got my permit, so he was disinterested in me. My upline was still struggling to pass the exam, so she couldn't be no help for me either. Yeah, most of the people that will be in there actually have a hard time passing the AMF exam. So basically, they are calling themselves financial advisor, but they do not have more knowledge than me or you or anyone else around them. They have a hard time understanding how this investment will multiply itself. They are undertrained, I swear. I was on my own and kept on doing decent, but my closed market was getting drier. Like the hot market that I've burned with my teacher, I was now going into my lukewarm market because I already went to my mom, I already went to my friend, I already went to my cousins, you know. Here are some strategy from my bureau. So the place where I was working with the people. There were a few pernicious ways that we got taught how to create leads. The first one being to call a list from friends and friends of friends. Basically, every time we go to a meeting, every time we go to a class moment where we're teaching people the finance 101 thingy, we are asking people to give us a call list of people that could appreciate the opportunity or could appreciate to receive those teachings. So in a way to like stay in your kind of lukewarm market. And when you call, you say, yes, your friend, this one told me that you might need this. So are you interested? So that the market is not completely cold, just lukewarm. You started with your own hot market and friends and family that it was easy to get meeting with since they know you and trust you. But you guessed that most people will set space in between you and them when they understand what machine you got stuck in. And I can't blame them. I would. Now, I do. I'm the kind of people that will be like, that's nice what you're offering me. Come back to me when you're out of that. I'll be there to listen to you, or when you want to like try to find a way to get out of that, I'll be there to help you. I've been through that. But for now, I know that every time you're going to talk with me, it's going to be to try to sell me something, and I'm not interested by that. Just to like be able to be, I don't want to burn the bridge. I just want to be like, a bridge is a good distance in between us, you know? Every time you called, you had to say a friend of the people got the number, the name of the friend that you got the number from, so that they thought they would be interested in that kind of information you have to give. You got answers that were lukewarm at best or very cold or violent sometimes at worst. You don't get no's. You get like, I don't care about your bullshit, you know? Once a week, we would have a reunion of the likes that got me to sign at first. Like the big meeting that I was saying that was followed by an interview. You had to bring some people. Like it was not mandatory, but strongly encouraged. And even if you showed up alone, you had to show up so that you could get repeated that you are doing the right thing, that this is the dream, and to get told which rep made good that week to show example of success. The goal is to say that, like, our project is working, this guy's doing good. Our project is working, this guy got to pay, you know? Always reaffirming that if one was successful, it was because he worked hard and against each and every challenge that came his way to inspire the army. There was a second weekly mass. That was for the affiliate, the one that signed, but that didn't do great during the previous week. And basically it was there to make, it was a call night. You all grouped up, you get pepped up, and you started doing the calls for those cold call and lukewarm call. Kickstart your next week. So that if you were experiencing a bad week, it was because you didn't try enough. As said earlier, you got answers that were lukewarm at best, or very cold, or violent sometimes at worst. Sometimes they would make you read a speech as a group to invite growth in your life. I would like to put my hands back on that thing. It was literally a prayer, okay? I need to mention how much it felt like a chant. A few times a year, the best one would be invited to a small boot camp on the VIP secondary house. Basically, they had a house on the lake. That was the first pictures I show you. To do some team building activity and build new friendship with other people that are already into your company, so that are direct competition, you know? A few other times it was a bigger meeting, feeling like a sport event, when they were throwing trophies and the likes to those having good recent numbers. I'm sad to say that I got a few recognition into these, motivating probably other people to try harder, as if they were not already doing their best. It felt good at the time, sadly. Like, basically, they will take a lot of those little small group, they will rent a church, not something that looks like a church, a freaking church, and will like make a ceremony of like trophy giving 4 times a year about. They sent their good yearly earners to some mindset improvements. Basically classes where you basically got taught new chants, really, or financial and personal growth things. But you were thrown into a group of all the other people that were in different MLM. So it's where you understand how much, no matter what is the product that they say they are selling, the pernicious part of it is always the same. And this gives a whole new meaning to the song Sweet Dreams. You are listening to that and you're like, oh, fudge, some of them really try to abuse me, and I'm actively trying to abuse some other people with that, like with their trust, financially, things like that. And you're like, man, this is atrocious. At that point, I also reduced my working hours from 24 to 36 hours, meaning I'm lowering my income that I get from my real job that paid me $19 an hour, $18 an hour at the time, to spend more time building my business. Got encouraged to cut some bridge with people not fitting the echo chambers mindset. And if people are telling you like, this might be a scam, this might not be good, you should get out of that. Like, you kick them out of your life. Because if you are keeping them, you might get out of the cult, you know? She carried on and loved me. Okay. That I have to say a big thanks to my wife, okay? Because it hurt my relationship with my actual wife by saying things that I would have never said in my right mind. I said word to my wife in the order of, I feel like you do not support me through this, because she was not showing to like those cult event, you know? It is atrocious. I don't even know how she still loved me through that. I would have probably gave up on myself. I was in a very weird place in my life at that moment. She carried on and loved me even through these dark times. Not saying it was the worst, but I remember telling her that I didn't feel supported by her at times, which I strongly regret. You get told and brainwashed to assume that if someone doesn't succeed, it's because they are weak or not wanting it enough, but it really is so much more complicated. Most of my newest relationship at that point are made from inside and around MLMs. I'm meeting up, I'm receiving some MLM commentary from a lot of people. Then this kind of reunion, okay, you go to that kind of party, then this kind of reunion filled with people that are there being just, they want you to get in their network because they can make money out of you. You want them to be in your network because you could make money out of them. And like, everyone is seen as a potential downline, as they see you as well as a potential downline. Say that they are entrepreneur. They are not entrepreneur. They are basically scam artists and getting scammed as well. It's going both ways. Like, this really felt culty. And if it's not to exploit you or to ask to be exploited by you, basically, this is the whole Sweet Dream song in a nutshell. Reality check. You are encouraged to try to rebuild a relationship with old friend, specifically in an attempt to make a new call list / recruit. And you are certain that what you have to offer is actually to support and help them. Honestly, at that moment, I thought I did something good. I thought like giving those financial advice, knowing how finance are going in my country, was the good thing to do. Thought I was like a superhero through that, like a good human, but I was a monster. You are certain that you have to offer to people is actually to support and help them. I lost decades old friendship over this. Then you start building some downline. You try to support by making them repeat the same hell you've just been through. You know what you're doing. You know what they're going to go by. You're like, yeah, but I'm starting to do good. You can do good too. You start earning a decent income, and sometimes from work you are not even doing by yourself. When someone else is going out and you get some money out of that, it feels good. You didn't even raise a little finger at that point, and like someone else bring you, like, even if it's $20 or $30, you didn't work for that money, and you're like, I can make that like 10,000 times, you know? And it is then that I started reflecting on the position of people under me. Sure, I was earning a decent amount of money at that point for the effort I was doing, compared to the median of people at my level. Like, I actually earned some money. This is more than what a lot of people can say in that system. At my level in the pyramid scheme, this is what it is. This is basically a non-yet illegal pyramid scheme, but it's gonna be one eventually. At what price? I saw some people I learned to love struggling to make a single sale because I recruited them, knowing they were not good salesperson. Like, I recruited someone knowing she would have a hard time because she wanted to be recruited. Like, it's the kind of thing that you're like, you might have to develop a lot of skills to be able to do that. Yeah, but I still want to do it. You know, when she got sold the business by my own upline, was doing even better than I did. And I was like, They can't say what they want. It is not true that everyone can sell. Some people are good sellers. People are shitty sellers. This is not a good plan. I saw some people starting to be indoctrinated, sometimes partly by me. Just by being part of those reunions, you validate and strengthen them. If there is 40 people that are already in the business listening to a opening calls, okay, with 20 others, all because they are in the business and they are in the cult and they want you to be in the cult. Yeah, by being there, you support them. You understand that the bigger your check at the end of the month, the more people you are scamming out of better / cheaper option. Families and friends. Your wealth is constructed on the loss of people you love, and you are told to close your eyes. The wealth of everyone in your upline and downline is built on that. It's built on trust. It's built on, this is costing more, but you trust me, take it, you know? And then you make your money. And that's where the ethical human inside me couldn't make sense of this anymore. I called my upline. She tried all the counter arguments she had, but she was not that good of a salesperson herself. Tried to leech some call lists from me, understanding I was cutting my relationship with the company. I called all my downline, explaining to them my decision and giving them their option so that they could at least ask themselves the question they had to ask themselves. That reflection I went through. I called all my clients, explaining to them that I've learned by practicing and giving them recommendation that would not benefit me nor my upline, but that would truly be best for them. Let's say my leaving month was a long and heavy one. I did not do it on 2 days. I was into that crap for about like close to 2 years. No, sorry, 1 year. I was into that crap for 1 long year. But I couldn't leave without having at least given a shot at fixing what I considered I did wrong. What I've learned that these companies are probably the buzzard of capitalism. They feed on the moment of weakness and vulnerabilities. We have to tell us they are the way to better yourself. You literally have to think that the business will make you stronger while you are at your worst sometime. That is extremely cult-like for a recruitment approach. most people that join them are as much victim to them as the people that get scammed by them. I've learned that there is nothing ethical about their decision. I've learned all of their pre-made lingo to navigate my point of view on their scams. I've learned that it is no use trying to convince someone out of them. When I was in that, I believed in it. You could not have convinced me out. And this is why I say, like, when one of my friends comes with that kind of opportunity to me now, I'm not trying to force them out. I'm not telling them that they are the worst. I'm telling them there might be a moment in your life when you're going to be in that and think that it's not good for you. I've been through that. When you're there, call me. You just like there, I'm saying, for this business, my door is closed, but I'm leaving it a little open for when you're going to need help, you know? Real help, not help to make your business grow. But that making content like this and sharing experience can prevent unconvinced people to say no. Basically, what I'm doing at the moment, that's going to go on YouTube. That's going to be edited for that. I'm doing this so that when someone is full of doubt about this kind of opportunity, they see this and they're like, maybe I should listen to that guy that has no money to do out of me being recruited before I'm listening to my friend that actually have a lot of money to do out of that. So consider this educational content, basically. And say no, people that doubt the hopline's chance to understand what make them feel bad in their interaction with the people around them. Because even though you feel like you're the good person, you also feel like some of your interaction would never happen, like they do happen if you were not in a pyramid scheme at that moment. Learn that making more money often comes with an ethical cost that I am not willing to pay. Don't be scared for me. I finished my studies. Don't be sorry for this. Even if this moment in my life made me put them on hiatus, my studies are now done. I am an happy teacher. I don't even want to become a principal anymore because the responsibility that I get as a teacher are the one I love. Do things with my time that I'm proud of instead of ashamed of. I won't fall for these kind of things again. Not as a client, not as a rep. There's a list of like just a bullet list of random extra shit I want to like take off my chest for this one. Some of them could literally need to have a whole explanation or deserve their own video. So consider this just the opening to that thing. And if it's the kind of content that you may like to have a little bit more about, like destroying some scam of this kind, let me know. That could be in the chat. That could be in the comment, because I'm really interested by that. This is something that I feel really, really, really needs to be taught to people to be able to be protected from these. We would have probably some stuff that would be more on the funny side, where we would listen to the commentary of people that are already in them and that try to scam people, or maybe some like deep dive into some precise company. It is not hard. I just kind of did a deep dive into Primerica, but not deep enough up to my own taste. This is more like my experience. Here are the scary thing. Every time I would go for the truth instead of the image, when I want to tell someone the truth, because this is what I was doing. This is, by the way, that have been an hindrance to myself in the company. Every time I would go for the truth instead of the image, like just showing that it's easy, we're making money, life is good, good thing. Some higher upline would keep me in check. If someone came to ask me how easy it was to work the business, I would answer, it's very hard and not for everyone. You need to be ready to put in the hours. Later these nights, I would get told by my upline that you just say it to those that are already signed up. Basically, she's like, you don't say that that's going to be hard. You say that it's worth it, or that you can make in any 9-to-5 job. At the top is not that wrong, but like it truly is. I'll be honest. So I was just like straight honest with them. There was a point where some other lines were willingly avoiding to present me their new recruit because they didn't want me to interact with them. Okay. I would invest in the company 5 to 8 hours per day. And that I would do 6 to 7 days a week. Okay. There's no job that will make someone work that much. And you will see how ridiculous my pay was. There's no job that would make some people, my compensation was, it was not a pay. There is no job that would make you work that much for that little amount of pay. including lukewarm calling, cold calling, promoting. Promoting means everything you do on social media for that. Meeting up with families and closing. Like all of these things, if I was not in someone's dining room, selling the product, selling the opportunity, I was trying to get some lead toward those. If I had a dry week, I would get told it's because I'm not working hard enough on the business part of the company, meaning building a team. I was selling the product. I was not building a team because I was not selling the dream as a easy thing enough to get. Implying getting access to some new hot market from your new downline. The idea is that you get a new downline and you get access to the hot market because you have to train them. And it's hot market, easy to reach. My cold market, I have to do like 20 calls to get 1 yes. This hot market, you do 5 calls, you get 4 yes. It's absurd. If I had a day with less than 20 attempted calls, I would feel like I didn't do enough. We're talking cold call, talking to strangers. I quickly dropped 12 hours at my security job for more free time to do the business. I was questioning everything about the logistic of the business. I would get, if I was just questioning, I was questioning everything about the logistic of the business, or when I was questioning about like, why are we offering a product that is less viable than what the bank can offer? Like, it's absurd. So I got told to trust the process. They honestly do not want to confront any cognitive dissonance or logical thinking. If you're bringing science into their speech, they're kicking you out. They're moving you away. You become a danger for all the others. My upline would organize meetup about raising our energy level and cosmic vibration to a place of gratitude and how that would bring wealth and comfort into our life. I swear, MLMs are cult. That is one of the things that was probably the most marking to me. The exam given by the AMF. This is the exam you have to do to become a financial advisor in Quebec. Can be succeeded with math you learn when you are 15 years old. No joke. The most complicated count you have is basically to be able to do a calculus with some interest rate. So yeah, the worst is like calculus. That's it. Nothing more extreme than this. And the rest is being extremely common sense based. What do you offer to that kind of client? Basically. Many of the new recruits still had a very hard time succeeding at it, and were later on running with the title when after 3 tries, they finally succeeded. Like, they are like, yeah, I'm now a financial advisor. I can't do 15 years old maths, but I'm a financial advisor. Good job. And all their hot market. When you're doing this after 3 tries, we're talking like 6-month time, your hot market is done. For now, like, it's buried in training purposes. You are now already in the worst part of the business. I emphasize the word training here because you ask your closest contact to accept letting you practice with them, where from the get-go, your upline just want to recruit them and make you do some downline and believe you can make it in the company. They want you to make you believe that you're going to rake in some commission from that. Because if you don't early, you're going to run away. Like if I'm telling you you're in a cult, it's going to cost you all of your human interaction. It's going to cost you your ethics, and you're not succeeding in it early, you're going to run away from that thing. So I refuse to do the same with my downline. I was waiting for them to be able to sell the product themselves so that they would get the money from their hotter market. And once again, you can guess it, I got frowned upon by my upline. And I could understand why. Like, it was not fitting what they wanted to do. And also, it was giving the time for the recruit to think. And you don't want your recruit to think, because if she's thinking, she might be logical, you know? Was not making them actively recruit and was not letting me sell to their hot market. Like, that's basically like manipulation planned ahead. They know it's easier to close deal/recruit. I can't tell you my inner feeling when I was surrounded by these people making false revenue claim. A lot of them are encouraged by their upline to just brag that they're doing decent cash. I'm going to show you what the third best of the new recruit of my month actually did in 1 year. And you're going to be like, wow, that's trash. Like, that means that under me, there was like hundreds of people that were not able to reach that in their first year. So, bragging about the one decent cash out they got while they had access to the scoreboard online show. Yeah, okay. In the company, you have access to the whole scoreboard. So they are bragging about that time they made like $2,800. That one time they got to sell a lot of the product at once. And I'm turning back, I'm watching the scoreboard and I'm like, dude, I can't even find that moment where you did any money in the company, you know? Every little lie that I heard from them was basically like, inside I had a hitch that was telling me, tell them the truth. Like, you're lying to that guy you're trying to recruit. Tell them the truth. Tell them you're working your ass off. You're not making any relevant money. Do you believe that in 15 years you're going to be able to do so? Stop lying to others. Stop lying to yourself. I can't even manage to explain the mixed feeling when someone gets recruited under someone else. You are like, it's nice to see that the company can work. So you're kind of get motivated by that. But also, you know that this guy is like living in the same area as you, is now a direct competitor selling the same product you're selling. If I am a home seller and I see that there's a new home seller that just like start to sell in my area, I'm not happy. He's going to sell the home I could have sold. He's going to get the money I could have get. So like you're in that kind of weird mindset of like, everybody is your concurrent. Everybody's like a challenger that sells the exact same thing as you. But also in, oh, but that can work for some people, so that can work for me. So it's very, very weird as a feeling. And because people, I know you love numbers. Here's what we did in 1 year. You will see how much ridiculous it was. That year, I made about $2,100 with the company. We're talking third best. Good starter. Very, very good starter on this. Which is more than most recruits do in their first year. I recruited 4 downline, which 1 was active. The 3 others start to see how the business was working and were like, nope, I'm running away from that. But really wasn't cut. They were not cut for it. Like, if you're not a good salesman also, you're not going to make a lot of money early. So I should honestly not have recruited them. Okay, the one that was active was not a good seller. I should not have recruited her. I told her and she was like, yeah, but I still want to have a shot at it. And I should not. My direct upline got nothing out of me because she had a very hard time passing the exam. You know, the 15 years old math exam that I was talking to you about earlier. So it was not possible for her to get money for my closing before she had that permit. When she got that permit, I finally left the company being like, ethically, I'm not okay with this. So our upline, though, would rake her part and the part of my upline that was in between both. When you consider that my trainer aforementioned, that was part of her direct the downline, that himself made about 2,700 out of my hot market. Everything I've earned clearly went back to the company because like you spend it in gas, you spend it in everything that is linked to the company. Some of them will be like deductible from your tax report. Yay! But still, that was for sure a loss. Since I cut a 12-hour shift for 10 months, that was making me $19 an hour. So long story short, we made about $2,100 from that year. And let's be pragmatic. I've lost $9,500 in the same thing. So yeah, there was like about $7,400 of loss from just the fact that I cut my hours to be able to work that business. That was it. That was like me reading a story that I lived through when I was at my early 20s. We're going to probably do a deep dive on Primerica eventually. It has to show like all the bad part that are in it. I'm very sorry you had to like sip through this with me. I do hope that was still enjoyable for some.